Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta and the second pass for the Beast Mastery Hunter. In this video, I'm going to be going over the talent adjustments, spells, and abilities lost or gained, what's been kept from your Legion artifacts and or legendaries, any new graphics along the way, spell animation, stuff like that, and a brief overview of the War Mode talents, and of course, the oh-so-wonderful GCD changes. There will not be any true gameplay in this series, so consider this more of a sort of a one-man podcast walkthrough primer of the spec, going from Legion into Battle for Azeroth. There's also the entire second pass testing VOD located on Twitch, linked in the description box below if you'd like to see what myself and all of chat gets into. And then finally, if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback about the spec or anything I'm doing here on the channel, leave a comment down below. That is what the comment section is for. And if you want to keep up to date with all of the beta coverage that is now starting back up again for the second passes, you can subscribe, of course, to the YouTube channel. And if you're already possibly subscribed, hit the bell icon next to it. That's actually the real subscription button now because YouTube things. So, Beast Mastery Hunter. And as you saw right there at the very beginning, that is the new like stance you can have with your weapon. If you're out of range or turned away, you do hold your weapon now like you are actually a hunter. All the different weapons work this way. But once you turn, of course, be able to shoot something, then it'll obviously start shooting it. But overall, where are my notes at? So there's an animation change for Kill Command, Bestial Wrath, and Dire Beast. There's also the At the Ready combat stance, and a little thing that we saw when we were testing earlier today is that hunters now strafe with their guns or weapons a lot better than they're used to. So you now don't break your spine when you are strafing with your weapon. So this is strafing around a target now. Of course, see the new Kill Command animation there. New Bestial Wrath. Kill Command again. And I don't have it talented right now because I do have the Animal Companion, aka Hottie, as a talent. But that is also right there as well. But we'll have to see how these compare to sort of marksman animations, of course, because survival is obviously in melee. But that is a pretty huge overall adjustment to the animation style. There's a bit of a 360 little circle action going there to see how the feet adjust as you change direction while you're moving. It's pretty nice. Little quality of life change there. Let me get out of combat real quick. That's the wrong button. Get out of combat, pop this, and tack on Dire Beast here. Of course, I'll go through all these changes in a moment, but Dire Beast now does have a different animation. The animation of the wolf or Tyrannosaurus Rex or bird spawning has nothing new. It just kind of appears from thin air. But the animation when you cast Dire Beast, again, this is Kill Command, and this is Dire Beast. No longer are you yelling and screaming and sticking your weapon up through your head. You no longer are impaling yourself with your gun or bow or whatever you're using, of course. Don't use crossbows, kids. It's just use bows. Crossbows are okay. But you have like the purge, like open hand animation, but you're holding your weapon. And otherwise, the Kill Command is the point. You point, you can actually see, if I zoom in here underneath the rifle barreling, you'll see the dwarf point with the gun. So very, very nice. And of course, that's across all of them, depending on what the, your gender and race combination. It'll be a little different, but overall, that is a huge improvement over what Beast Mastery Hunter currently looked like before this. But anyway, that aside, there's a huge pet and spec family update here. So without going into crazy amounts of detail, because I want to keep these videos brief and to the point, all your pets across the whole game, for survival and marksman, if you want to use a pet for the utility or for Beastmaster, do the same damage. What they have differently now is their pets, school or families, change what they have. So we have a sort of we have the tenacity, the tanking pet out right now. So you get endurance training, where you gain increased health for yourself and your pet. You also have the survival of the fittest, which is your command pet, your little personal shield wall there. But if you take a ferocity pet out, for example, notice the 880 damage there. We'll take out a kitty cat, right? A ferocity pet. You're going to have your Primal Raid, which is your heroism, and the broken gun animation starts. Claw, 880 damage. Still has the double damage and more focus. When you have more focus, it helps to keep its focus down and not wasting any. But Predator's Thirst, you have passive leech. It's 10% passive leech. The tooltip is just broken. And of course, it's a ferocity pet, you get heroism. And then if we go over here to a cunning pet, overall as well, hunters have lost, this is a global thing, hunters have lost battle res. You have your utility on your pets, but you do not have a battle res anymore. You of course still have your bloodlust, heroism, etc. So you have your Master's Call, which is your removal of roots, that kind of stuff, but you have pathfinding now on a cunning pet, so it's a movement speed increase. So you can pick whatever pet you'd like, depending on what that pet looks like, without having to worry about being nerfed in the damage department. So pick your pet based on what you need. What the heck? Why is it up there? I have no idea. It is stuck. Hello? Okay, well that's funny. I guess the pet pathing AI won't go around. Standard hunter fare there. And granted, the kill command architecture, when you actually kill command something back and forth, it will snap to your new target. So that's a good change, though. But those are some updates, and now we can go through some of the core updates to the class. We'll bring back out, let's bring back out this pupper here real quick. So your mastery, of course, is still going to be your Master of Beasts. Still have Wild Call. I will blanket this video by saying that anything that says Dire Frenzy or Dire Beast most likely refers to a new ability, which is Barbed Shot, which does all of those together in a ranged bleed attack that is not actually doing bleed damage. It does physical damage. It is reduced by armor, not a true bleed. Probably just still not affected right now by being properly used to be a bleed effect, but we'll see. But Barbed Shot gives you the little bit of bleed damage. It still gives you the focus regen as Dire Frenzy or Dire Beast would, and it still buffs your pet. The duration of the pet buff is the same as the buff on the hunter in the top right corner, so you can track your frenzy stacks, of course, if you're going to be stacking to 3 stacks during your Bestial Wrath, right, to get the maximized auto attacks out of your pupper, or whatever you're using, right? So there's the 90% damage, or 90% attack speed, to increase all that auto attack damage to, of course, combine with Big Red Pet. So that is where Barbed Shot comes in here. So if anything refers to Dire Frenzy or Dire Beast, it is Barbed Shot. It's just totally wonky right now with the new iteration of this build. Wild Call, that's why I was going after that. That refreshes Barbed Shot now, not Dire Frenzy. Still have Exotic Beast, still have your Kindred Spirit, still has your Beast Cleave. It's been cut down to 75%, down from 100%. Not a huge big thing, it's just part of the squish, basically. And other big changes here is that Cobra Shot costs 35 focus, down from the 50 on live. It has the Legendary Boot passive rolled in, so you get the kill command cooldown reduction per use. Aspect of the Wild had a slight update where the duration is 20 seconds, up from 10. The focus you gain is 5 per second, down from 10 per second. Cooldown remains 2 minutes, still grants you 10% critical strike chance to synergize flatly with, of course, Wild Call, which gives you more Barbed Shot resets, which gives you more stacks of the Dire Frenzy effect, which gives you more focus regen per stack. All that works together, but that is still the same animation, of course. Also, we have Intimidate is baseline, which is your stun. It actually does buff your pet for 15 seconds, and then when you send it to attack something, that is when it will stun the target. So you have a little bit of a mini game there. Obviously, if your pet is already attacking the target, then it will stun it on cast. But there is sort of like a priming of it, and then you can use it. I don't know if that's the difference on live or not. And then Tranq Shot, which was in your toolbox, is gone. You did have Tranq Shot to remove the enrage effects, but only druids have that now, which is kind of awkward. We may see Tranq Shot come back, we may not, I'm not sure. You did have Tranq Shot, but it is poof gone. If I don't mention something, of course, in a video, imagine that it's the same as it was in the first pass. You can go check out the first pass, which was the initial preliminary changes, but obviously things have changed since then. But if I don't mention it, imagine it's the same from that version or the same as on live. So most everything else is still the same as you are on live. So, the talent walkthrough here. Oh, don't talk to me. Exactly. So, this is your live talents versus the in-game ones currently. So you actually had Big Game Hunter, Way of the Cobra, Dire Stable became Scent of Blood, Dire Frenzy rolled into Barbed Shot, and then these are the ones that were removed. So again, Big Game Hunter was removed, Way of the Cobra was removed, Far Strider removed, Bestial Fury, Blink Strikes, Wyvern Sting, and Volley all removed. So you had Aspect of the Beast totally reworked. You had Dire Beast added as a talent spender. So going through all of these again, Dire Beast now is just a spender where it summons a Dire Beast. But this does synergize with Stomp, as I showed off at the beginning there. Otherwise, Stomp will only work on your pet whenever you cast Barbed Shot. And if you want to know about how that synergy works, of course, your Beast Cleave procs there. So we'll do a little Stomp real quick here. Maybe. There we go. Whoa, big wolf. So that is that. Oh, I have the talent calculator up. You couldn't see any of that because I'm still used to doing all this stuff in post, but I'm not anymore. So Dire Beast does work with Stomp. I'll show you. Close that down. You probably could have seen a little bit there, but here's Dire Beast with Stomp. Yep. And then, of course, your pet with Barbed Shot each time you do that. Bring this back up again. So Animal Companion, as I went over at the beginning, is just Hati. It only works with Kill Command, does not get any pet family abilities, does not Stomp, just acts as a Kill Command buffer, essentially. Killer Instinct turns your Kill Command into a 50% increased damage execute below 35% health. Chimera Shot remains unchanged. One with the pack remains unchanged. Again, it says Dire Beast, but that is actually not the case. Again, it's Barbed Shot. And then Scent of Blood generates 8 additional focus of restoration. So that's the adjustment from your Dire Stable. Works in a Scent of Blood now. The whole fantasy behind this apparently is that even your turtle is bloodthirsty, and the fact that you bleed the target with a Barbed Shot, it sends them into an attack speed frenzy. That's the hook there, apparently, even though it doesn't really make a lot of lore sense, because do turtles eat meat? Do moths eat meat? I don't know. Anyway. Camouflage is the same as it is on live. You can do anything in the camo, just not anything offensive. Close that down. Natural Mending. Every 30 focus you spend reduces the remaining cooldown of Exhilaration by 1 second. Exhilaration is a 30% heal on yourself and a full heal on your pet. Trailblazer remains the same. Venomous Bite will add a Cobra Shot reduction or a Cobra Shot interaction with Bestial Wrath to reduce its cooldown by 1 second per use. Throw of the Hunt is the stacking 3% crit chance every time you use Barbed Shot. Barbed? Not Bard Shot. You're not shooting Jay the Bards at people. And then Murder of Crows still remains here. Binding Shot is a root, not a stun. Post Haste nerfed slightly to a 50% sprint, down from a 60% sprint from live. Born to be Wild is, I believe this is your legendary Bracers, but rolled into a talent that is a 20% reduction, not a 35%. So, but Born to be Wild is going to be a set and forget for a very long time, considering that having more turtles and more cheetahs is going to be really, really good. And everything else has been moved around. So Stampede is still here. It is still, I'll show it again in a moment, but Stampede is still ridiculous. It doesn't really do anything. It's just damage. Barrage is very much still here as well. There was some architecture fixing on Barrage that it just does the average amount of damage to all enemies in front of you now. And its damage spread is ridiculous. You can, of course, move while barraging. It's a 3-second channel reduced by haste, of course. So between Stomp, not working on Animal Companion, and not having Dire Beast baseline, you can talent it. The difference between speccing Stomp or Barrage may very well be depending on the fight that you're doing, which is nice, having that choice there. But then, or you can just take Stampede, I guess, which is just that colonnade 5 yards behind you, 25 yards in front of you column of random pets that spawn and run at things. So I'll switch over to that and I'll throw it out here, I guess. So again, to prove that it spawns behind you, so I should not think I'm a total dingwit. There we go. I don't know how the math works on this. We didn't do a lot of math reverse engineering. The second passes are not about that. But it may or may not scale with your mastery. If it doesn't, it's just going to scale with your crit and verse, I suppose. But Stampede may do a ton of damage if you stack it with Bestial Wrath in that short window to add that 25% more damage to it. But otherwise, depends on the encounter. Do you need burst AoE? Do you need rotational AoE and cleave? Or do you just need passive? Because Stomp is also a single target, and it won't get in the way of, you having to cast Barrage on a single target, because obviously Barrage probably doesn't work that well on pure single target. So, Spitting Cobra, I'm not even going to show it off, because hopefully it gets fixed or changed or something still, because it's just a Searing Totem that gets summoned. It's what Survival Hunter had. The benefit of Spitting Cobra is that it generates focus. But if you're too far away from your target, it won't attack. So it's still coded like the Survival Hunter version where it was within like melee range. So if you're 35 yards away and you Spitting Cobra, it just stands there. I'm going to report the bug, of course, but that's all Spitting Cobra does. It's just a Searing Totem that deals damage, and then it just gives you focus every 2 seconds. You gain 2 focus every second for 20 seconds. That's the big benefit of it, right? Killer Cobra is still when Bestial Wrath is active. Cobra Shot resets the cooldown of Kill Command. So a very focused, like, single target build could be like one with the pack or Scent of Blood. Probably one with the pack, depending on your crit scaling, right? Because again, that's only going to be crit auto attacks with Wild Call. This also lists as a multiplicative bonus, but it is an additive bonus, actually, which is just a tooltip error. But then Venomous Bite looks really good with getting more Killer Cobra, right? Let's close this down. Getting more Killer Cobra will be really nice. But maybe. Depends on the encounter. Killer Instincts, because I went over all the pet family changes already. Aspect of the Beast on live is laughably bad. And now it gives you a passive pet benefit to all of the pet school abilities. So Predator's Thirst, Endurance Training, and Pathfinding. So it gives you more movement speed, more flat HP, or more leech on top of increasing the damage of your pet's abilities by 30%, which is basically just your bite, claw, etc., right? So that's the flat amount. This will, of course, will not work with Animal Companion. It doesn't work with Kill Command because it's your pet's abilities, but it will, of course, give you, goes 10% leech to 15, 8% movement speed to 12, or 8% HP to 12, and then you get to choose what utility you want to bring, either for yourself, for PvP, for war mode, whatever, with this talent now versus the weird, ridiculous nonsense that it is on live. So outside of Spitting Cobra being very boring, but maybe good for AoE burst because of the extra focus regeneration, Killer Cobra being very good for pure single target, and obviously going to be good with Killer Instinct on any boss fight that's going to last a couple minutes in the execute window, or on like a Bracken Spore style, maybe Spine of Deathwing, where you have to burst something down really quickly so you can actually make use of that extra bonus damage and be able to just Kill Command, Cobra Shot, Kill Command, Cobra Shot, Kill Command, Cobra Shot, etc. So that'll be really nice. But that is the layout of the spec. The joke that I put in the YouTube thumbnail, or the YouTube description box rather, is that you can actually have a Beast Mastery Hunter build now with extra abilities, and quite a few of them if you want to go that far. Let's put this over here, but I don't know if this build will be good at all. I have no idea. I doubt it. But having the option to have the extra rotational abilities could be interesting. I think Chimera Shot now, because Dire Beast is a spender, does sync up rather well. Because every time you get to Chimera Shot, which is reduced by haste, it'll line up right behind a Dire Beast like this. So get that Barb Shot in there, and then get that Dire Beast in there. I don't know if you want to use Barrage. I just took it to take extra buttons, right? You can obviously just take Stomp if you're running Dire Beast for the extra single target damage in that regard. But the flow of the build feels pretty fine. I'm not a Hunter player, but I don't think this feels awful. It gives you more things to juggle versus the normal build of a Beastmaster Hunter being essentially 3 buttons, right? There's some nuance to juggling the Dire Frenzy stacks with Barbed Shot, but overall, you're still basically hitting the same 3 buttons in a different order. Now, at least you get a little bit of back and forth with the Dire Beast Chimera Shot synergy, even though, again, Chimera Shot scales with haste, and Dire Beast does not. But that Dire Beast also scales with Stomp. So you have to let me know in the comments down below what you think of the build potential. But the next little section I move on here is I want to talk about these. So, War Mode is coming to Battle for Azeroth. This is essentially World PvP mode. It can only be toggled on in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. Toggled on or off in Stormwind or Orgrimmar for Alliance or Horde. When you do so, you will gain these two buffs. Soldier of the Alliance or Soldier of the Horde. When you kill Horde or Alliance players, you will gain extra honor. And then killing assassins gives you even more bonus honor. There is like 500 ranks of the new honor system with different degrees of rewards and penance and mounts and all this other madness that's happening. So if you want to grind all this stuff out, this is how you would want to gain more of that, by taking advantage of the war mode. After killing 10 Horde or killing 10 Alliance without dying, you will be granted the upgrade to be an assassin rank, which increases your damage and healing by 15%. There may be more beyond this eventually, but right now that's the baseline version. And of course, you get the enlisted buff, which is experience gained from killing monsters and completing quests, increased by 15%. And you get to pick one of your sort of medallion passives or actives here. So you can pick Adaptation or Relentless or the Gladiator's Medallion that locks into the top bubble here. And then you get to pick just any of these. You just pick any 3. And then they're active as long as you're in war mode in the open world. This is currently outside of Borealis as the contested area, so that's why these talents actually turn on right here. But I will go through all these real quick. Dire Beast Basilisk is just a basically single target cooldown that summons a really slow moving basilisk to chase a target and deal heavy damage. If the target dies, it will move back to you, and if you pick a new target, it will then chase the next target you attack. Dire Beast Hawk is sort of an AoE. It's more or less a Beast Mastery Hunter Blizzard. High Explosive Trap is a 40-second cooldown explosive trap that has a huge knockback. It's probably like 15-ish yard knockback. So you can put it yourself, put it on someone else, knock targets back when they trigger the trap. Scorpion Sting is an anti-melee sting, where it reduces their physical critical strike chance by half for 8 seconds. Spider Sting is a 4-second duration debuff that if that target casts an offensive spell, they'll be silenced for 4 seconds. Viper Sting is a anti-healer sting, where it will reduce the healing done by that healer by 30% for 6 seconds, and it will be automatically removed before the 6-second window if that healer casts a non-instant cast healing spell. So if they don't, then they just get nerfed by 30% for 6 seconds. Dragon Scale Armor will reduce all magical damage over time effects on you by 20%. Survival Tactics makes Feigned Death remove all harmful magic effects and reduces the damage taken by 99% for 1.5 seconds when you feign. I brought up Chaos Bolt as an example for Survival Tactics. You have to feign death the cast of some abilities versus actually feigning the application of others. So there's a bit of a skill cap in there, where you can nullify huge hits, like nullifying out executes or something has to happen as it casts, obviously. Same thing with some spells. Otherwise, you can just feign purge yourself, essentially, and take no damage, more or less, for that global. Interlope is basically Spell Reflect Pet. Replaces Misdirection. The next hostile spell cast on the target, yourself, a friend, etc., will be redirected within the next 3 seconds to your pet, but your pet has to be within 10 yards of the target you're redirecting to. So you can Master's Call your Cunning pet over to your healer, interlope them, and then the next Chaos Bolt, Shadow Bolt, whatever, Templar's Verdict, blip, goes on your pet instead if it's a spell. I guess Templar's Verdict wouldn't work. Hammer of Wrath, there we go. Wild Protector is your pet protects nearby allies within 8 yards, reducing damage they take by 10%. So if you put your Wild Protector on yourself, then you'll take 10% less damage all the time if you're by your pet or getting aggressed upon by, dots or casters or whatever. Or you can put it on the target you're attacking that your melee are also attacking to help them take less damage. And the Beast within is that Bestial Wrath causes you and your pet to be immune to all fear and horror effects while active. So you can counteract the, warlocks, the priests, the warriors in that regard. Also, if you heard that, it's right there. As a Zeppelin flying overhead. Going over war mode here, there are airdrops in Battle for Azeroth. Exactly. So when you're doing the open world PvP on any of the islands, there are airdrops a la PUBG Fortnite style. So if you want to take part of that, then please feel free. I might do it on stream with you guys, but I don't know. It's kind of weird, but you know, battle royales are everywhere now, but now it's in World of Warcraft. So enjoy that if you'd like. But that's PvP talents. That's the base talents. The next section I want to go over is the global cooldown change real quick. So Primal Rage, let me go get a Ferocity Pet real quick. Primal Rage, which is the Hunter Heroism or Time Warp, is off the GCD. However, it may not reset on boss wipes because it's a 6-minute cooldown for some reason and not a 10-minute cooldown. I don't understand. But it is off the global. So Hunters, be ready to start using Primal Rage all the time. That's on you. Just to make sure I bring up the tooltip here so you see it. Just so we're on the same page here. Yeah, 6-minute cooldown, so it won't reset on boss kills, maybe. We'll see if it's fixed. Obviously, I can't really test that without going dungeon testing. But we also have Disengage. Cheetah and Turtle are all off the GCD. Disengage was on a 0.5 global recently, but they did remove it in the recent build. However, what is on the GCD is Stampede, which I'll cast here now for you. Again, I guess. Stampede is on the global. Aspect of the Wild is on the global, and Bestial Wrath is on the global. Everything else is off, in case you wanted to freak out or not. It's not really a big deal for BM. They only have arguably 2 things on the GCD, so unless you actually take Stampede. Now, because Bestial Wrath and Aspect of the Wild obviously always desync in some way, you're never casting them back to back normally, so you can just spread them out. Right, they'll sync on the pole, it'd be kind of awkward, but other than that, those are the only things that are on the global cooldown. But that is the Beast Mastery Hunter. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything here. Let me go back to my notes for you guys. That's it, basically. So the Builder Spender aspect has been changed slightly. There's a little bit of buff dot uptime and some RNG procs. So the BM Hunter still does have 3 pillars of DPS. And it feels fine. People ask me on stream how I felt about it. I don't really play Hunter, so I don't really know how to answer that question. It feels fine. It just feels like BM with a slight tweak to, again, the talent combinations that you may be doing very much a single target build, an execute based build, a very AoE focused build, and that comes down to the fight what's in front of you. But that'll do it. So thank you all very much for watching this first of the second passes for Battle for Azeroth in the beta. This is the Beast Mastery Hunter. Of course, if you're new to the channel and like to have more of this nonsense in your subscription box, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, or of course, ring the bell, because that's the real subscription button now. Or if you would like to support what I do here in a more physical sense, I just launched a brand new double-sided or all-over print Farewell to Legion shirt called the Fate of a Titan. This was made by Teutron. It has the Portal to Argus on the back of the shirt, and Gorabal, the huge sword slammed into Azeroth on the front. This is a full, all-over 360-degree print. And supporting me this way, if you want to buy my apparel, helps me work with more artists in our community and keep doing what I'm doing right here. And thank you, of course, for all the support. But that's it. I'm getting out of here. I will see you all in the next Battle for Azeroth second pass for the Marksman Hunter and then Survival. Hunter's up first. So that's that. I will see you all in the next video.